Let's talk about the situation at Chelsea. And last night, the Chelsea Supporters Trust weren't too happy because Chelsea have revealed that they're going to scrap subsidiary. I keep saying it. Subsidised coaching for travel for domestic away games. A PR disaster from the club, or is travelling to away games a privilege and not a right?
What are they, a registered charity now?
Who?
The owners of Chelsea.
No.
Their contribution is to buy players and to build the business, and the fans' contribution is to support it and to pay their part in it.
Well, they have been paying for travel, helping to pay for travel up until this point, but withdrawing it, why would you do that?
Thank them for what they've done, and then reassert yourself back into the place that you were before.
It's not a great look, though. If you spent £1 billion on transfers, but we can't...
They're two different things.
Why?
Because ultimately, one is about advancing the business, the other is about supporter contribution to the football club that they purport to own in spirit. So they'll only go to travel if it's subsidised. No, I don't. Listen, I can understand the argument because if you've spent £1 billion on players, but that's a completely different argument.
It costs £250,000 to do it for a whole season.
I understand
for men
that.
and women. It's not that much.
In the great scheme of things, I don't know why they'd bother with it. They've made a rod for their own back by doing it in the first place. So with that in mind, why don't they carry on with it? But let's look at the moral argument. Why is it their responsibility? Tell you what, give them the bloody travel for free. No. Let's get a bit further. Give them the tickets for free. No, that's not enough. Give them the merchandise for free. At which point do you accept that football has a responsibility for owners to develop the ambitions of the football club and pay for all these ridiculous, preposterous amounts of money on footballers, but the fans also are paying for something and they're getting something back in return.
It does look ridiculously bad.
Yeah, and the fans make a massive contribution away from home, and actually one of the things we should be protecting is getting as many away fans into the ground as possible.
Taking it away is a bad look. It's a bad look because of, especially where people are.
Then why give it in the first place? So the problem is that you're
now
in perpetuity, right? So ultimately, you've now committed. I know what I'm sounding like sounds like a mean-spirited curmudgeon of an owner.
He does a bit.
I understand that, but I also don't understand the logic of giving it to them in the first place. Because they weren't entitled to it. They want to support their team away from home. So we have to listen dawn till dusk about how committed fans are to their football club. And you guys that own it are only there as custodians, and your job is to empty your pockets, get on with our listening to what we bitch and moan about, and to depart out the door without any money left.
That's a sweeping statement about supporters, isn't it?
But what I'm saying, anyway, come on, milk. Why they did it?
What's the subsidy? £10?
It's 20 quid, I think. Is it 20 quid? They pay 20 quid for £10 subs, apparently. Yeah.
Right, like I said, 10 quid. Right, so we're talking about 10 quid, and we're seriously saying, on one hand, I think it's small-minded of Chelsea's ownership to take it away now they've given it. But I also think it's slightly mealy-mouthed to expect it as an ongoing situation. So because it's not their gift.
Well, is it because the club have said?
Is
it because the club have said it's not financially sustainable to continue to offer subsidised coach travel?
Well, spending money on players to advance achievements is one thing. Giving away charity is another.
Yeah, but they can cross over. They can. I mean, you're talking about ridiculous, nonsensical amounts of money on certain
Every
bits.
single department in a football club will have a budget. Right, and every single department head will be told what their budgets are, and so from that point of view, they will be looking at you've got the football operation, and often the football operation has a budget, and then it gets completely ignored because you have to adapt to the circumstances. But every other department, whether it's F&B, food and banqueting, whether it's merchandise, whether it's ticketing and events, all have cost controls in place.
Absolutely.
So they're separating it differently, and they're saying, well, I'll tell you what, we accept. It's the wild, wild west over here, right? And whatever budgets we think we've got in place.
Well, who's the head of PR? Because PR should be going over to whoever's in charge of the whole shabam and going. This is a catastrophe.
Because the PR budget might well be more than £250,000.
Let's find £250,000 off one of the staff members you've got who's in the recruitment.
But let's not give it to them in the first place.
But that's too late, isn't it? It's done.
Well, I agree with that. But people are going to turn around and they're going to say, typical perspective. But everything, it's not just the guy that owns the bleeding football club's job to support the thing that you guys as fans say you own. I used to sit there in fans forums going, right, spend more money. Whose money? My money? Okay, fine. I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll spend more money and I'll put your season ticket prices
Chelsea
up.
haven't got a problem with spending money. Chelsea's spending money for fun. All they're asking is finding some of that money into the fans and the supporters' trust.
Subsidise them. And at which point, where does that stop them?
Well, it's stopping now with the coaches.
But where does subsidies stop?
Well, it's only for the coaches. They're not asking for anything else.
Okay. But the bottom line is there's a cost implication behind coaches. I understand it's small beer. And in the great scheme of things...
Go to the players. Someone from PR, get a message to the players.
Do you know what burns my arse? Is the sense of entitlement. You're not entitled to it. If they've given it to you, the gratitude for having been given it for a year should supersede the sense of entitlement that you're now entitled
but you're
to
living
it.
in cuckoo land.
But you're entitled to it in perpetuity.
No, but you're
that's
living in
what that-
cuckoo land if you expect people to have that some sort of logical, sensible,
And also, people
grateful
are going to get
attitude.
upset if they're used to this and you're going to
that.
withdraw it.
You would, yeah. We'd hope
If you
to
withdraw
say,
it,
look,
people are going to react.
But
aren't they?
you had something, because a year ago, 18 months ago, we're not going to have any club. There'll be no club. Roman's gone now, and all of a sudden it's going to be melted down. And what we're going to do? We'll do anything to support our club except paid away travel. I mean, let's have it right. I mean, I don't know why they're taking it away, and I can understand why people will say it's small-minded, but I also do not think it's an entitlement.
No, but
and I'm pushing back against the entitlement.
Nor is your breakfast being cooked in the morning, your shirt's being ironed every morning.
Well, it's Michelle's job.
But exactly, and you expect it to be done. You expect it to be done, and if it's not done, you'll throw your toys out the pram.
Mate, if you
You
saw
wouldn't
what
be
Michelle
saying thankful for doing it.
If you saw what Michelle cooked, you wouldn't want to eat it.
I'm not on about Michelle, I'm on about the butler. I'm on about the butler.
Michelle does absolutely nothing in the house, so I don't have to apologise for anything. It's clearly a pun.
Okay, let's read the text message. Sam and Danny, on your conversation about Chelsea stopping subsidising away travel, just to let you know that since 2013, during our Premier League days, Stoke City have offered free away travel to all supporters and still do it now in the Championship,
Good for
which
them.
hopefully now will complete revamp of the backroom and staff, and now exciting players will see Stoke soon compete in the Premier League once more.
I doubt it.
Are they a registered charity, Stoke? I don't think they are.
No, they're run by registered people that own a betting company that make more money than God. But that's a different discussion entirely. Each to their own. I understand the argument on both sides of it.
broken, I forgot.
I understand each side. I understand if you've given it to them for 250 grand a year, why would you take it away? I also advance the notion that there is not an entitlement to it.
I did have an idea when we were discussing this a little bit earlier on that I think away fans, because they're so important, I think, to the fabric of English football, I think one of the things that makes it the Premier League itself really attractive across the world is the fact that you've got that sort of rivalry, that tribalistic. Yeah, so would I. I think that we did this thing with 20's plenty. I know that was that campaign, but the cost of tickets are restricted to £30 now in the Premier League away from home. I think you should pay a set fee. I think there could be a scheme where you pay a set fee, you get your ticket and travel for 40 quid.
Sam?
That'd be good, wouldn't it? That'd be good. In the Premier League, there's whatever supporters funds
We're in the presence of genius and we don't know it.
Yeah, well,
no one's ever had that idea before.
Oh, well, why has no one implemented it then?
Well, how do you know that they haven't?
No, I'm saying across the board that should be the case, so that we make sure that we get these away ends filled every single week.
You can't do it across the board because clubs have different budgets, don't they?
But maybe it should be funded by a central fund.
What?
Why couldn't it be central fund?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know
Premier
what he's
League.
talking
Football
about.
Supporters Association could all collect the money.
Oh,
there could be a
that
grant
brain
to them
trust,
every single year.
Given by...
Well, it could be donated by the clubs. The clubs could have a certain percentage of their income that has to go into an away supporters fund. That's how they did the subsidised ticket in the first place.
I think clubs are going to have something to say about that, because what you want to be doing is benefiting your own supporters, not others. If you're one of the
well, they all join the same scheme for the away tickets subsidy. I'm just extending it to the travel as well.
You don't mean the way you mean the central pricing.
The central pricing, yeah.
Well, that was an initiative that was put to the Premier League en masse, not based upon individual clubs
I'm
having different fan bases.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we could put it to them en masse. I'm saying that everyone should pay the same price, so that everyone has access to away games.
But then you've got different lengths of journeys. You've got different amounts of support bases. You've got different attendance at different grounds. Whatever are you babbling about?
Who cares about that?
Oh, that's just detail, is it?
It's just mere detail.
Why let details get in the way of a good idea?
All clubs do the same journeys over the course of the season.
Do you think football commentators should be compensated to go to games and have subsidy and fuel subsidies and God knows what else?
Well, we get paid to go to games, don't we?
Well, that's not the point, is it? You're there adding value to it. So is it also, without you and the value that you give to a football match, there would be less value in it. So there should be subsidies for you guys as well, so that we can listen to your babbling drivel more readily.
03717223344. Simon doesn't think that fans should be helped out in any way, shape,
I think they should be charged more.
I think they should be subsidised and they should be supported in order to make sure that they can lend their hand to the club by supporting their team away from home.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.